Today's Sunday Review takes us deep into the world of one of science fiction's most polarizing works, Time Enough for Love by Robert A. Heinlein. Now, if you're familiar with Heinlein, you already know that he's one of the giants of the genre. But Time Enough for Love, this novel is different. It's not just about spaceships and futuristic tech, though those are in there too. It's more like Heinlein opened up his brain and poured out everything he had to say about life, love, immortality, and freedom, and wrapped it all around the character of Lazarus Long, the oldest living human being who's over 2,000 years old. So, what is this book about? It doesn't follow a straightforward plot like some of Heinlein's earlier works. Instead, it's a mix of stories, philosophical musings, and personal memories from Lazarus Long's extremely long life. At the start, Lazarus is done with life. He's ready to die, despite having access to technology that lets him live pretty much forever. His descendants don't want to lose him, though, so they try to bring him back to health and convince him that he still has something to live for. From there, the book branches off into different stories from Lazarus's past, like the famous Tale of the Adopted Daughter, which is probably the emotional core of the whole novel. This isn't your typical space opera. It's much more about the human experience and the questions that come with living for centuries. What does it mean to outlive everyone you love? Is there a point where you've just lived too long? Heinlein uses Lazarus to ask these questions, and sometimes it feels like he's really asking the reader to think about what makes life worth living. Lazarus Long is a complicated character, though. He's got a very libertarian, almost anarchistic view of the world. He doesn't like authority, doesn't care much for governments, and he's all about personal freedom. But despite that, he's also kind of a father figure, and a lot of what he says about family is surprisingly traditional. Heinlein makes it clear that while Lazarus rejects societal norms, he believes deeply in the power of family. His relationship with Dora, one of the key figures in his life, shows a softer, more emotional side of him. And then there's Ira Wetherell, who serves as a contrast to Lazarus. While Lazarus is all about rejecting society, Ira's more moderate and practical, showing that maybe personal freedom and social structures can coexist. Now, we've got to talk about some of the more controversial aspects of the novel. Heinlein doesn't shy away from difficult subjects, especially when it comes to love and sexuality. He explores all kinds of relationships in this book, and some of them, especially the incestuous tones, have made a lot of readers uncomfortable. Heinlein clearly believed in pushing boundaries, but it's important to acknowledge that some of these themes can be challenging to get through, and they've sparked plenty of debates over the years. But it's not all about controversy. Heinlein also dives into big philosophical themes like immortality and its consequences. What happens to someone who lives for centuries? How does it change their perspective on life, love, and loss? Lazarus's weariness, his almost nihilistic view of existence after so many years, is a central theme. It's an exploration of what it means to be human when time itself starts to lose meaning. And through Lazarus's eyes, we see both the advantages and the downsides of immortality, things that make the reader question whether living forever is really the gift we often think it is. Of course, Heinlein doesn't forget the science fiction. The backdrop of this novel is a future filled with advanced technology, everything from rejuvenation treatments to interstellar travel. But unlike some of his earlier works, these elements aren't really the focus here. They're more like the setting that allows Heinlein to explore the human condition. Technology in Time Enough for Love is used to raise questions about human nature rather than being the main attraction. One thing that makes this novel stand out is its structure. It's not a straightforward narrative at all. Instead, it's more of a collection of stories, essays, and memories. Heinlein even breaks away from the story at times to let Lazarus go off on long, philosophical rants about government, religion, or whatever's on his mind. For some readers, this is where the book gets bogged down. It can feel like the novel slows to a crawl while Heinlein indulges in these digressions. But for others, these moments are what make the book special. They provide insight into Heinlein's own beliefs, which are a big part of what gives Time Enough for Love its unique voice. Now, let's be honest, this book isn't for everyone. At over 600 pages, it's long, really long. And because it's more focused on ideas than action, it can feel slow at times. If you're looking for a fast-paced sci-fi adventure, this might not be it. But if you're someone who enjoys philosophical discussions wrapped in a science fiction package, this could be right up your alley. It's the kind of book that makes you think, that challenges your views on society, love, and what it means to be alive. Critics were divided when Time Enough for Love first came out, and that remains true today. Some people see it as Heinlein's masterpiece, while others think it's bloated and self-indulgent. The way it handles sexuality, especially, can be tough for modern readers, and its non-linear structure can feel like a lot to take in. But whether you love it or hate it, there's no denying that Time Enough for Love leaves an impression. It's a book that gets people talking, and that's part of what makes it worth reading. For longtime Heinlein fans, this book offers a deeper dive into his philosophies, particularly his libertarian ideals. It also marks a shift in his writing toward more character-driven stories, rather than plot-focused adventures. If you're new to Heinlein, though, this might not be the best place to start. It's a dense, heavy read, and it might be worth exploring some of his earlier works before jumping into this one. So, what's the final verdict? Time Enough for Love is a bold, ambitious novel that tackles big questions and isn't afraid to challenge its readers. It's not an easy read, but it's a rewarding one if you're willing to engage with its themes and ideas. Whether you come away loving it or finding it frustrating, one thing's for sure, you won't forget it. If you enjoyed today's Sunday review, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more in-depth reviews of classic and modern science fiction. Let us know in the comments what you thought of Time Enough for Love and whether you'd recommend it to others. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.